to bend phrase and time into something clever.
Good morning. Okay, early this morning I was treated to a special message by somebody who seems rather trollish to me, so needless to say this person is blocked. What did he write? He writes, wait, so you're basing your entire understanding of a mental illness on the actions of one person, your mother. And because of that, you view nearly everyone else with that same mental illness as the same. That's pretty ignorant, ma'am. This is by somebody named Sammy G. So I write Sammy G back. Actually, 3 little notes. Let's see, where was I? Here it is. I base it also on how depression and anxiety warped my perceptions of the world before I came to my senses and sought help and medication. I base it on the biography of Russell Nash that I read. It's a great book, I recommend it, after I saw the movie Beautiful Mind. I base it on the bus ride I had 20 or so years ago, where the complete stranger in the seat in front of mine whirled around and started screaming and swearing at me. You judge my life experiences based on a line in a video. Pretty ignorant of you, boy. And then I write, oh, and I guess I forgot to mention the several doctors of psychiatry I spoke to during the original treatment of my mom after several years of trying to get her to see how her delusions weren't real. Kind of sounds like religion there, doesn't it? There was the doctor at Group Health who met with me. This over an hour. We had a proper session. And counseled me on how to deal with untreated schizophrenia. I had like 12 different letters that I had sent to my mother, begging her to see various things that she thought were real were not real, like the fact that she was inviting people all over the state to come to her wedding to an imaginary man. But I digress. Okay. So I met with this doctor at Group Health who counseled me on how to deal with untreated schizophrenia, and even treated, because the meds often have to be changed because the body gets used to them. And the doctor I saw at the adult behavioral health facility in Monroe, where my mom was interred for 3 months. Wasn't sure if interred was the right word, but it sounded really cool. So I used it. I know that's what you use when you put people, in cemeteries, but I like the word. So anyway, okay. Then, of course, there were the pamphlets I was given at that hospital, on how schizophrenia affects the brain and how family and loved ones should interact with a delusional person. I also didn't mention the support group that I was part of. See this? This is the joys of my broken computer, which, Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just mute it.
Once you shake them, you can't shake them.
Okay, we're muting the computer. Okay, see, it just pop-up windows all over. Yes, I was in a support group for quite a while after my mother was diagnosed, and I got to hear about other people's stories with people dealing with people with severe mental illness. So, okay, where was I? Yes, I was given pamphlets about how schizophrenia affects the brain and how family and loved ones should interact with a delusional person. Anyway, you seem rather trollish to me, based on the subtle insult here and the stupid crack below you made to one of my subs, so goodbye! And I blocked him. As I said in the video, this is actually on the comment lines under the video about not dealing with trolls anymore. I'm not dealing with trolls anymore. I wanted to add, and this is the point of this video, that I wouldn't even need to list all this out if people understood the simple fact that other people have a right to have an opinion. You know, I'm talking to the Sammy G guy, you have no idea my life experiences. You know, I will talk about my mother on YouTube and the fact that it motivated me to, well, it forced me to have to learn as much as I could about how to deal with a schizophrenic person. But you know, everybody has a right to have an opinion about something. And, you know, I don't know why this person seems to think that I don't. I mentioned my mother, and I mentioned it's not just schizophrenia, it's all mental illness, any kind of mental illness. Unless you're having yourself treated, it's going to change the way you see the world, because it's your brain that's ill, and your brain is basically in control of all your perceptions. Depression tends to make everything seem much bigger. Little problems become really big problems. I had a real problem with imagining people, basically putting thoughts in other people's minds and believing that that was the case. You know, oh, so-and-so doesn't like me, and then reacting to it, you know, like it was real, because I had the idea in my head that that's what they were thinking, and it wasn't even remotely what they were thinking, but I had it in my head that was what they were thinking. So yeah, distorted thinking is a common thing that happens for people who have a mental illness. That's my opinion, and I have a right to have an opinion. And it doesn't make me ignorant, because it's based on some sound information that I have. And somebody coming along who calls somebody ignorant based on a sentence in a video is pretty ignorant. So anyway, just my point that, you know, attacking somebody for voicing an opinion is really kind of stupid and trollish, and it's just, and unless you know that what the person has dealt with in their life, why do it? Anyway, it's just a thought. So I blocked Sammy G. Not the worst troll in the world, but I could see definite indications that this would have just continued to get worse and worse with this person. I don't want to deal with that anymore. He could have just as easily written to me something along the lines of, is that, well, I'm trying to think of how he would say that. Is it just your mother that you base your opinion on, or is there something else, or something? You know, could have asked me a question, could have done a little more digging before he formed his opinion that I'm completely ignorant. Oh, and somebody else who I blocked, I think it was a day ago, implied that I have inherited some of my mother, or my mother's problem. I'm adopted, FYI. So if I have any mental illness, it's completely my own, and I cannot blame my mother for it. Well, I can maybe blame some of what my mom did, but it's mine. I have ownership of my own issue, and being adopted, I would not be able to inherit anything from my mother. So, okay, so that's it. If you've been watching, thanks. Bye.